I'll tell you the story of Charlie Kirk, a remarkable figure in the world of American politics. Charlie James Kirk was born on October 14, 1993, in Arlington Heights, Illinois. Growing up in this suburban area, he was part of a middle-class family environment that would shape his early views. From a young age, Charlie showed signs of being different. He had a natural talent for leadership and a sharp mind for debate. His interest in politics was not something that developed late in life. Rather, it was a passion that burned bright from his teenage years. When he was in high school, specifically at Wheeling High School, Charlie was actively involved in the debate club. Debating was more than just a school activity for him. It was a platform where he could express his thoughts and engage with different ideas. He would often take on controversial topics, showing a fearlessness that was rare for someone his age. One of the events that really put Charlie on the map during his high school days was a speech competition. In this competition, he decided to take a bold stance and critique the economic policies of the Obama administration. His words were sharp and well thought out. Even though he didn't win the competition, his performance caught the attention of a conservative-leaning wealthy businessman. This chance encounter would prove to be a turning point in Charlie's life. The businessman, impressed by Charlie's courage and intellectual ability, decided to offer him his first financial support. This support was not just a simple donation. It was the beginning of Charlie's journey into the world of political activism. After graduating from high school in 2012, Charlie made a decision that surprised many. He had been accepted to Harper College, but he chose to forego his college education. At a time when most of his peers were looking forward to starting their college lives, Charlie believed that real change could be achieved through direct action, rather than sitting in a classroom. This was a very bold decision, as in American society, a college degree is often seen as a necessary step towards a successful career. But Charlie was driven by a different vision. He was determined to make a difference in the political landscape, and he believed that the best way to do that was to get out there and start working on his ideas right away. In the same year, 2012, Charlie, along with Bill Montgomery, founded an organization that would become a major force in American youth politics. This organization was called Turning Point USA (TPUSA). The mission of TPUSA was to spread conservative values among high school and college students across the United States. Their slogan, "Big Government Sucks," clearly showed their stance against what they believed was an overreaching government. They aimed to promote ideas such as free markets, limited government intervention, and personal responsibility. Charlie dedicated himself to growing TPUSA. He traveled tirelessly across the country, visiting high schools and universities. At these campuses, he would set up booths, hand out informational materials, and organize various events. He used the power of social media to his advantage. In the digital age, social media platforms provided a great way to reach a large number of young people quickly. Through these platforms, he was able to share the ideas of TPUSA with millions of students. As a result, TPUSA grew rapidly. In just a few short years, what started as a small organization became a huge movement with hundreds of full-time employees. By 2020, it had become one of the most important platforms for the Republican Party to mobilize young voters. Charlie, who had once been just a high school debater, was now a well-known figure in American politics, a political opinion leader who was respected and followed by many. Charlie's influence was not limited to setting up booths and using social media. He was also a force to be reckoned with in debates, especially those held on college campuses. In 2018, he gave a speech at the University of California, Berkeley. Berkeley is known for having a very liberal student body, and Charlie knew that he would face a lot of opposition there. During his speech, students raised questions about his views, particularly regarding his stance on minority rights. But Charlie was not intimidated. He calmly responded, "True respect isn't about treating people as victims. It's about believing in their ability to change their own lives." Even though there were many boos from the audience, Charlie remained composed. He even invited some of the students who disagreed with him to come up on stage and have a face-to-face conversation. This showed his commitment to open debate, a principle that he held dear. These kinds of debates became a regular part of Charlie's life. He would travel to different campuses, take on controversial topics, and engage with students who had opposing views. Whether it was discussing immigration, climate change, or gender identity, Charlie was always ready to defend his conservative beliefs. His debates were often very popular, attracting thousands of students to watch. Videos of these debates would then spread like wildfire on social media. This not only increased his own popularity, but also helped to spread the conservative message to a wider audience. Even though some people criticized him for being provocative or extreme, there was no denying that he had given a voice to many conservative students who had previously felt silenced on their campuses. Charlie was not one to shy away from controversy. He took strong stands on many issues that were dividing the United States. During the Black Lives Matter (BLM) movement, he openly criticized the protests. He believed that they were causing chaos rather than bringing about real justice. His view was not popular with many, especially those who supported the BLM movement. But Charlie was firm in his belief. Similarly, during the COVID-19 pandemic, he was against the idea of mandatory vaccines. He saw this as an infringement on people's personal freedom. This stance also put him at odds with many health experts and those who believed in following public health guidelines for the greater good. In the aftermath of the 2020 elections, he was a strong supporter of Donald Trump. He was involved in activities that claimed there was election fraud, even though there was no substantial evidence to support these claims. These controversial views meant that Charlie had a very polarized reception in American society. On one hand, he had a large number of passionate supporters, especially among the conservative community. They saw him as a hero, someone who was not afraid to speak his mind and stand up for what he believed in. On the other hand, he had many critics, particularly among the liberal community. They considered him a dangerous figure, someone whose views were divisive and harmful to the unity of the country. Charlie was also a very productive writer. He wrote books such as Campus Battlefield and The Mega Doctrine. These books further elaborated on his political views and were well received by his supporters. In addition to writing, he hosted a podcast called The Charlie Kirk Show. This podcast was very popular, with an average of over 1 million listeners tuning in every day. It was ranked among the top 10 podcasts on Apple News for a long time. Through his podcast, he was able to reach an even wider audience, sharing his thoughts, interviewing guests, and discussing the latest political developments. He also made frequent appearances on conservative media platforms like Fox News, further increasing his visibility and influence. As the years went by, Charlie continued to work hard to promote conservative values among young people. He saw the college campus as a crucial battleground in the political war of ideas. He knew that many universities had a dominant left-wing ideology, and he wanted to change that. Through TPUSA, he started initiatives like the Professor Watch List. This list aimed to highlight professors who, according to TPUSA, were promoting left-wing ideas in an unfair way in their classrooms. He also organized a series of campus-wide tours, where he would travel to different universities, hold debates, and encourage students to question the status quo and think about the principles of free markets and personal freedom. In 2020, Charlie got married to Erica France, a former beauty queen and entrepreneur. Their wedding was a private and lovely affair. Charlie often talked about how his family and his faith were important to him. He was a devout Christian, and he believed that his faith should guide his political actions. He tried to incorporate Christian values into his political beliefs, emphasizing the importance of family, traditional moral values, and a free market economy. In the lead up to the 2024 elections, Charlie was more active than ever. He believed that it was crucial to mobilize young conservative voters. He launched the Students for Trump campaign, which was very successful in getting young people to support Donald Trump. His efforts were widely recognized, and he was often referred to as the godfather of youth conservatism. He had managed to bring the conservative message to a younger generation, a generation that was often thought to be more liberal-leaning. However, Charlie's life was cut short in a tragic way. On September 10, 2025, he was at Utah Valley University, participating in an event as part of his Great American Comeback Tour. He was on stage, engaged in a conversation with students, when suddenly, a gunshot rang out. A bullet hit him in the neck. The scene immediately turned into chaos. The audience started screaming, and there was panic everywhere. Security personnel rushed to the stage, and medical teams arrived as quickly as possible. But despite their best efforts, Charlie was pronounced dead at the hospital. He was only 31 years old. The news of Charlie's death spread quickly across the United States. President Donald Trump expressed his deep sadness on his social media platform, Truth Social. He praised Charlie for his understanding of the American youth and his dedication to the conservative cause. Many other political figures, both from the conservative and, in some cases, the liberal side, also offered their condolences. The conservative media mourned the loss of a powerful voice, while the incident also reignited the national conversation about political violence in the United States. Charlie Kirk's life was a life of action, controversy, and influence. He had a profound impact on the political landscape of the United States, especially when it came to engaging young people in conservative politics. His story is one of a young man who was passionate about his beliefs, who was not afraid to speak his mind, and who dedicated his life to trying to change the political views of a generation. Even though he faced a lot of opposition and criticism, he remained true to his vision until the very end. His sudden and tragic death left a void in the world of American politics, but his ideas and the organization he founded, TPUSA, continued to have an impact long after he was gone. In conclusion, Charlie Kirk was a complex and influential figure. His journey from a high school debater in Illinois to a national political opinion leader was remarkable. His birthday, October 14, 1993, marked the beginning of a life that would change the way many young Americans thought about politics. Whether you agreed with his views or not, it was impossible to ignore the impact he had on the political discourse in the United States. His story serves as a reminder of the power of one person's ideas and the lengths to which they will go to make a difference. The events surrounding his death also brought to light the deep-seated political divisions in the United States. It was a tragic end to a life that had been filled with so much promise and activity. But Charlie Kirk's legacy, for better or for worse, was firmly etched in the history of American politics. And as the nation mourned his loss, it also had to grapple with the larger issues of political violence and the increasing polarization that seemed to be tearing the country apart.